Hi, my name is Adriana, and today I will be reading and reviewing my most anticipated release of 2022 and somehow also 2021. So here in my hand, I hold an arc of the book I was describing that is somehow my most anticipated release of 2021 and also 2022. It is actually being released in April of 2022, but I have been expecting it for a long time now. I think it was originally slated to come out in April of 2021 and then got pushed back for reasons that I will get into later in this video. This is the 15th installment in the Sigma Force series by James Rollins. I have been waiting for this book since basically the inception of my channel. My first video on this channel was a review of the 14th installment, The Last Odyssey. You can see it here. So I guess I will start with a little synopsis on the Sigma Force series as a whole. Like I said, we're 15 books in. It's been going on for a while, since I think like the late 90s. And it follows a group of specially trained operatives. It follows a book, oh my gosh, why can't I talk right now? I need coffee. Let's try this again. The series follows a group of specially trained operatives who work for DARPA, which I think is some sort of Department of Defense special unit something. Anyways, scientists with guns is often how this series is described. All of these operatives come from different special forces and militaries from across the United States, and then are taken and given an education in some specific field of study. So they are highly intelligent and highly deadly, and it's really fun. These are kind of like popcorn movies in a book, but also so much science and history research goes into all of them, and I find it just really, really cool. There's just so much cool action and history and science and all of these, and it just meshes together in such a fun plot that I can't help but love every single one of these that I have read. And truth be told, I'm about 50 pages in, and so far this one is no different. So this one takes place in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it opens with this Doctors Without Borders camp that is suddenly infected with a virus that turns people catatonic, essentially. So they can still like breathe, but they're not really like talking or feeling anything, and so they start getting overrun by these crazy ants that start eating everybody. So obviously we're coming in hot with some heavy, devastating action. And I think that point there where I said infected with a virus is a big reason this book got pushed back from its original release date. And the author even kind of touches on that in the acknowledgments at the start. He says in the acknowledgments that he felt a little weird about releasing a virus contagion focused novel in the midst of the worst pandemic we've had in 100 years. So it kept getting pushed back. Obviously he pitched this story before the pandemic was a thing. It takes a while to write a book. So far, I haven't found it too weird or triggering as far as all of the virus, COVID related stuff. He does mention COVID a couple times so far. So as of the first 50 pages, the Sigma Force, the spy team, has just been introduced, and unfortunately it looks like my favorite character from the Sigma Force will not be participating in this book, which makes me very, very sad. But I think I will still enjoy it immensely, and I am excited to see this team back in action and back at it again. So I think I'm going to try to read another 100 or so pages, and I will check in again. More pages in, and I had to physically restrain myself from continuing on to give you this update because this book has me in a chokehold. Oh my gosh, so exciting, so much going on. We're getting into the historical mystery, we're delving into the virology science. I know the author talks about putting off publishing this because he didn't want to, benefit off of pandemic contagion entertainment. But I think knowing what I know now about like epidemiology, just from paying attention to what's going on in the world, my enjoyment of this book is heightened. I mean, I don't know if you can actually see on my little, I'm annotating as I'm going. Oh, you can't really see. Oh, you can kind of see all of my book darts that I have going. I have many thoughts as to what's going on in this book. Granted, a few of these are just like random trivia questions that I want to keep in mind because I do pub trivia on a weekly basis. So there are some nice just little trivia things highlighted in here, but a lot of these are just insane plot points and exciting thoughts, and I'm going to jump back into it because, like I said, this book has me in a chokehold. I do have some friends who are driving across the state and they're going to stop by for lunch in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I'm going to try to read until they get here and then probably check back in again after lunch. So I'm about halfway through now, so I figured this would probably be another good time for a check-in. I'm still just enjoying it immensely. The whole virus thing is starting to get a lot more intense and the abilities of this crazy virus is getting a lot more intense. But what I'm really loving is the reintroduction of an older reoccurring character within the series. They're not a part of like the core cast, but that is Tucker and Kane. So Tucker is a soldier guy, but he is like a canine person. And then Kane is the dog. And I forgot how much I loved those characters together. Like, it's just super fun, and the connection between this guy and his dog, who've been through a lot, is just chef's kiss. We even get some dog POV. Like, who doesn't love a good dog POV? So definitely loving this so far. Probably won't check in again today, but I'll check in, tomorrow after I do some more reading tonight. Probably wearing the same thing because this is very comfy and I'm on vacation, so it doesn't matter. Alright, another exciting day of reading ahead of me. I did manage to read a little bit more after I checked in with you guys last night. Still no major breaks in the case of how we're going to deal with this global threat, but some characters are starting to come back together after having been split up through various means. So I think we're close. We're going to get there. I'm very excited. While this reading spot is definitely the most aesthetic, the big couch in the living room is definitely more comfortable. Alright, about 3/4 of the way through on the last part 5 of the book. I have no choice but to finish today because we are this close getting all the answers and I need them. So this will probably be my last check-in before I actually finish the book, and then I'm planning on doing like a full breakdown review, non-spoiler obviously. I think all of our major blockbuster action is done, and hopefully now we're just in answer mode. I need so many answers in these last 100 pages. We just got a big drop right before part number 5, and I need to know why, and how, and who, and what. So, let's finish this book. Okay, so I am still trying to recover from, obviously, being on the verge of tears. So, I figured if I'm gonna cry, I might as well get some content out of it. So I have about 20 pages left, and I'm gonna film myself reading them. Oh my god. I'm dying. This got to me a lot more than I thought it would. Okay, so yeah, I just finished it. I have a little bit on the truth or fiction portion, so I'm probably gonna read that. I don't think I'm gonna check back in today. I'm gonna give myself some time to kind of digest this book and come back and do my full review. But I guess just some immediate thoughts as I finish up. Definitely one of the major themes I'm going to have to work through is kind of man versus nature. It's a very classic theme, but at the same time this feels very kind of different to other man versus nature things I've read before, so I'm definitely going to spend some time thinking about that. But yeah, I'll be back. Well, a couple days my time, but like the next 30 seconds of video time with a full non-spoiler review. But this book was very good. Very, very good. Okay, it's been a few days. I think I'm finally ready to go in and do my full non-spoiler review. I did already give kind of a bit of a synopsis during the reading vlog portion of this video, but in case you skipped it, I will go ahead and do another one. In the heart of the Congolese jungle, a virus strikes and is affecting humans and the environment differently. Humans are becoming catatonic, and the environment around them, the flora and fauna, is becoming much more aggressive. The Sigma Force is called in and must follow a trail of breadcrumbs left by a missionary in the 1800s in order to discover the secrets of this virus. So I think that's as much as I want to give. Like I said, trying to stay non-spoiler as much as I can, especially since this book doesn't come out for a while. But now I will start in on themes. The major theme of this book is a very classic man versus nature, a little bit of a spin with some kind of high sort of, not necessarily sci-fi, but pushing the boundary of sci-fi elements. Generally in these Sigma Force novels, the main villain will be what I kind of call a reasonable villain. So it's someone with good intentions who just takes it too far. In that case, I think nature as a whole is our reasonable villain. She is very understandably pushing the limits of what could be deemed moral in a human sense. The other main villain we have in this book is just cartoonishly evil, and I will get into that more in characters. But what I think I really appreciated about this book is, in general, Sigma Force has a very understandable villain who is generally trying to save the environment as a human. That's been a big theme in a lot of different books. Someone trying to dumb down the human species, someone trying to eliminate half the human species or more. The fact that in this book, Mother Nature herself is taking charge, and man versus nature being such a classic trope through ancient history, I think it was a really cool and refreshing way to introduce something a little bit new into these adventure thrillers. So starting with characters, the characters we focus on from our kind of larger ensemble of Sigma Force is Commander Pierce. He's kind of the main character in most of these. A generic action hero type guy, really smart, really good at figuring out patterns, and a combination of Robert Langdon from the Da Vinci Code and like James Bond maybe? Except not as, I don't know. He's a very cool but somewhat generic action hero. We also have Kowalski, who is the demolitions expert of the Sigma Force. He is very big, very gruff, and that continues through this book. One of my favorite examples of characterization for him. I don't want to spoil anything, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, I will have a timestamp, but there is a point in which he has to basically kill a bug, and he uses the cigar that he was smoking and like kills this bug, which I think is incredible. Like, this very poisonous bug, and he just puts it out like with a cigarette. No, not a cigarette, cigar. Love it. We also have Monk, another one of the Sigma Force kind of generic soldier guys. He lost his hand in one of the books, I don't remember which book, so he has the super advanced prosthesis that always becomes a plot element later on. And then she's not technically a part of the Sigma Force, I believe, but the Dr. Lisa, she is also in this book, but kind of in the background. And then my main disappointment with this book is my favorite character who's a part of the Sigma Force, Seishan, is not in it. And it makes me very sad because she is literally my favorite Sigma Force character. She is so cool. But anyways, I will stop talking about her because she's not even in this book. Our kind of more main side characters that we have going on that are outside of the main Sigma Force ensemble. One is Charlotte. She is a French doctor who is in the Doctors Without Borders camp that initially discovers this virus. She is a very kind of cool, interesting character. I think the author uses her a lot to delve into some sexism that is still relevant in STEM. It does feel a little dated, but I mean, I still appreciate that it's there. I think the main audience for this type of book could probably benefit from that kind of exposure. Another one of the characters that we follow quite a bit is Benji, and he is a PhD candidate who is again in that Doctors Without Borders camp, and he is doing some research for his PhD, and he has autism, so the author kind of uses that character to kind of look into some more kind of like autism rep, looking into more of the autism spectrum and how that affects your ability to function in especially a high stress environment like what takes place in this book. And from my experience with people I know with autism and my own research on autism, I think it is pretty good rep. I mean, it's hard to say that it is exactly perfect representation because autism is such a wide spectrum of symptoms that they could present in almost any way. So, and then some of the last good guys that we follow is Tucker and Kane. I talked about them a little bit in the reading vlog portion. They are so fun. Tucker is I think he's an army ranger, maybe? But he has a canine partner named Kane, and they are just, I love them. The way the author writes, the connection between these two is just incredible. I think that's because the author, you know, he's a veterinarian, he loves dogs, so I think he put a lot of time and passion into this relationship between the soldier and his partner, and I love it. And like I mentioned in reading vlog, you get a POV from the dog several times, and I just think that is so cool to be able to read from a dog's perspective. Like, I don't know how many other books do that, but I think it was really, really neat. And then finally, our bad guy, Nolan DeCoster. He is just cartoonishly evil. Just evil billionaire to the T. Elon Musk in the jungle. It was perfect. I loved everything about this character. He is just so perfectly evil. I'm gonna give another like non-spoiler example, but if you want to go in 0 spoilers, I'll put in another timestamp that you can skip to. But there is at one point that he has 2 monitors up. One is focusing on this kind of travesty and devastation that he is responsible for, so he is, you know, making sure that everything is going to plan as he wants it to, so it's basically just like a security camera feed. And then the other screen is this profit and loss sheet for like the last quarter. So he is just so cartoonishly mustache twirling billionaire evil, and I love it. I think it's so great. I love an evil billionaire. I will always love an evil billionaire. They are so fun. Give me more. Well, I think there's quite a few evil billionaires, but I will never tire of reading the evil billionaire. So for the next section, plot, I don't know how much I'll really talk about. It's an adventure thriller. It is a constant roller coaster ride of like just things exploding and people in explosions and gunfights and river rescues, and so there's just like a lot going on, and I love that. But I think what I will talk a little bit more about is in all of the Sigma Force novels, there is a history element and a kind of cutting edge science element. In this one, I really enjoyed both. They were both subjects that I didn't really know a whole lot about, so it was cool to like learn more. The first of which is the history portion of Prester John and Reverend Shepherd. So the Prester John is kind of like this legendary figure. They think he existed. I don't know. He's like kind of this legendary figure of this Christian king within Central Africa. So that was cool to learn about. A topic I had never heard about before, so that was really interesting. He's supposed to be a descendant of one of the 3 wise men who went and visited the birth of Jesus Christ. So I don't know a whole lot about the Bible and religious history. I don't know. So it was kind of cool to learn about. The other part of the history is about a actual person, well, I don't want to offend anybody with my history takes, but Reverend Shepherd, he was a missionary in the Congo during the 1800s who was kind of accepted into a lot of these tribes because he actually learned how to speak the language and kind of helped them with like medicine stuff and other things. Apparently he wasn't super successful at actually converting anyone, but you know, that's fine. So it was definitely cool to learn more about those two different people. And then the science portion was all about the biology of viruses. So the virus that they encounter is biologically very different from a lot of other viruses, so the author spends a lot of time really digging into the science of viruses and how they formed and how they interact with humans, and along with this theory that viruses are actually what helped humans evolve into what we are today. So I thought that was really cool. It's always fun to be introduced to new theories of evolution and how we came to be who we are today. So final wrap-up thoughts. I loved this. This is like up there in probably my top 3 of Sigma Force novels. I think these novels continue to just get better over time. I enjoyed this one immensely. I have had people ask me before if you need to start from the beginning for Sigma Force. I don't think you necessarily need to. The only thing you're going to be missing out on is some of the relationship between the characters and how those have developed over the past 15 books, but they are very episodic and just kind of fun, like I said, blockbuster popcorn books. So you can definitely jump in at any book you want, but I would definitely recommend this series and this book. So thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.